Hello, soul friend. Welcome back to the coziest corner of the internet. I am so happy that you're here. And this week we are getting on week 2 of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I did not expect to have so much resistance already, so it took me 2 weeks to complete chapter 2. And I expected this to happen maybe week 4, but my ass has been humbled this whole experience from the jump. So my bad for not uploading last week, but a lot of things came stirring up in my heart during this chapter. This chapter is all about recovering a sense of identity, and identity is so nuanced. There's so many layers that you need to peel back to really understand identity and how it's being influenced. And this chapter, she talks about how other people in our lives or the people we encounter, how they influence our creativity. And I had a really hard time looking at that because I'm someone who never wants to blame, and I don't think that's what she's trying to say, but I'm never someone who wants to look at someone to blame. I want to take full ownership and accountability for my creativity. But Julia talks about different types of people, poisonous playmates, she calls them, or crazy makers that influence and hinder us from really fully stepping into out of the shadow and into that artist identity. And I think what's really interesting is as a meditation teacher, I struggled with that piece of it because I truly believe in karma and emptiness, and that those things are not, that the things that people say to us are coming from us, they're not coming at us. The emotion that we attach and the importance that we attach to it. So this really conflicts sometimes with that understanding. But what I think Julia is really trying to do is I have to practice emptiness and neutrality as I'm doing the artist's way as well. And that she's really just trying to highlight and bring awareness to the areas that might be causing these blocks, but not giving blame or shame into any of it. So let's get into a section that I truly loved, which is the rules of the road. And these are these 10 rules that she gives towards the end of the chapter. These are basically 10 rules that you need to abide by in order to be an artist. So the first one is show up at the page. Use the page to rest, to dream, to try. This is something that has been such a constant struggle when we live in a world that is very creator driven and internet, social media heavy. It is so hard to just show up and write. Even a newsletter that I started on Substack, which was just a place for me to express my inner thoughts and inner downloads, after a couple of weeks, I started to notice that I would start mining my life and other people's lives and conversations and experiences for this dharma or these insights. And today I just made this vow that I'm just going to block time to write this newsletter and just show up empty with nothing prepared, no notes, nothing, nothing to worry about, like, oh, these are the things I'm going to try to remember. It's just showing up empty on the page and allowing what wants to come through. And it completely shifted that experience into this like very effortful creative act into an effortless, easeful creative act of joy. I just genuinely felt so much joy writing that newsletter today. It was pouring out of me, and the two and a half hours that I spent writing it just felt like 5 minutes because I was just in the pocket, really enjoying showing up and letting what wants to be created meet me there. So show up at the page. Don't feel like you need to show up somewhere else and bring a whole bag of tools and things and notes and reminders and whatever. Just really trust. And I think this is such a big act and radical act of self trust as an artist. So I really love that one. The second is fill the well by caring for my artist. This is a really big one. I noticed this week I got rid of a lot of shit. I decluttered almost half a room's worth of things in my apartment. And once those objects and those belongings were removed from my home, what shocked me was this like deep well of tiredness that came up. I thought like once I got rid of stuff, I would feel so much more energized and so excited. But getting rid of things and releasing things, and in this case, like releasing our old identities, requires so much life force, so much prana, and so much of our aliveness that it is not crazy to experience that tiredness. It is actually the most natural thing, is like when you have a huge loss, you will feel grief, you will feel tired. And this reminder of fill the well by caring for my artist, it really smacked me in the face this week. I kept trying to be more productive and do another load of laundry or finish another task and try to like get something done, but all my body wanted was rest. All it wanted was for me to slow down and to pay attention and to fill my well. And filling your well doesn't even have to look like how our culture and our society sees wellness. It's not just doing a face mask and getting a massage. I mean, maybe it can be for you if that is true to you. But for me, like filling my well is boredom and to allow myself this space to do absolutely nothing and to not have a task or something to crack in that moment, just to give myself full freedom of boredom. The third thing is set small and gentle goals and meet them. This is so, so critical. Just the gentler, the better. I used to be a very all or nothing type of person, but the power of gentle goals cannot be expressed enough. Gentleness is so key. I went into this year making a vow to myself that I would meditate every single day. And I've been on my streak. I've had a clean streak. And then this week, one day just went by where I completely forgot. And it wasn't like I intentionally tried to skip, it just happened. And I was just gentle with myself. I was like, wow, I really completely forgot about meditation today. And I didn't even realize it until the next day. And I just said, okay, well, I'm going to just give myself grace and forgive myself for skipping and not knowing that it was even happening. And today I'm just going to do an extra 5 minutes of meditation. That gentle goal just helped me keep continuing that thread and continuing on my journey of consistency and devotion to my meditation practice without having to bully myself or beat myself up. I think the gentle goals is so, so important in that practice of nurturing ourselves and not bullying ourselves when we drop the ball or when we don't meet something. Number 4 is pray for guidance, courage, and humility. Sometimes the best place to be is the complete rock bottom and be kind of in this place of like full surrender and prostration and just truly like allowing ourselves to need help from a source bigger than us. And lately, I've been doing that. I've literally just been on my knees asking help from God, asking help from my angels and my ancestors to help guide me instead of trying to figure this shit out all by myself. It is it is a fool's goal and a fool's mission to try to figure it out by yourself. You have an assist from the entire universe. And this is something we spoke about in a past episode. The universe is there to assist you, and it is not on us to do it 100% of the way. But to me, what I've kind of been thinking about is this 80-20 rule of like, I'll show up, do 80% of the work, but 20% of me will look to God, look to my guides and my mentors and my teachers, and look for the signs of guidance around me. So number 5, remember that it is far harder and more painful to be a blocked artist than it is to do the work. So this is where I've been really struggling with identity in this artist way journey, is because this entire book is around the framework that you are blocked and creatively blocked. So as I've started going on this journey and identifying as a blocked artist, I feel like I'm reinforcing and sowing the seeds of being blocked or having resistance. And so it's this wild trip of just constantly trying to plant new, fresh seeds of identity, of being a true heart artist. And then also at the same time, not reinforcing that I'm blocked, but I'm doing this 12-week journey to be unblocked. So that is a little bit of a mind fuck, if you will. But it is true that the thing that we're afraid of expressing, our artistry, our creativity, it seems so scary to just fully express. But what's more painful and what's scarier is what happens if we live a life not expressing our true heart's artistry and creativity. Like what that's a scarier life to live. And so you just have to pick the scary that you want to endure, because both are scary, but one comes with a lot more pain and suffering than the other, because the scariness or the fear that you feel with truly being seen for who you really are is such a smaller temporary fear than the other side, which is that performance of holding up the mask for the rest of your life. That just does not serve you or anyone. Number 6 is be alert always for the presence of the great creator leading and helping my artist. Be alert always for the presence of the great creator leading and helping my artist. This one's really beautiful. It's tied very simply to the guidance piece, but know that when you don't have your head down all the time, and when you're truly living in mindfulness and in that present moment, when you're focusing on your breath and your heartbeat and just living your life with joy and creativity, that there are so many signs that you'll be getting from God and from the universe. And we don't want to miss that. We don't want to be stuck in busyness. One of the first things I learned as a meditation teacher was to not adhere to busyness, to not allow yourself to have a busy life that is distracting, because of this very reason, that God is in that spaciousness. God is always present, but if we are busy, then we do not have access or the awareness to see those signs and to understand those messages. Number 7 is choose companions who encourage me to do the work, not just talk about doing the work or why I am not doing the work. This is so critical. Who you surround yourself with, the village that you create intentionally or unintentionally around you, will make or break yourself as an artist. I truly know this to the bone and to every cell in my body, I know this to be true. I know that part of this journey is having my husband's support. And this is something that I know this is a solo journey for me, but just to tell my husband that I'm doing this and allowing him to see me document it, and knowing that he's like experiencing and reading my newsletters and watching my videos. And yesterday he actually said, he's like, oh well, what happened to week 2, like you haven't dropped that episode yet. Just having his accountability and him in my corner has made a world of a difference. It has been seismic, the change that I've felt, just knowing that he knows the importance and the intention behind this. And we need that with everyone in our lives. And what I would also say is just remember that if you have friends who are big talkers and not people who execute and finish, please make sure that during these 12 weeks, you distance yourself from them as much as you can. You don't want to be around people who are talkers, because I know this from my own experience of being someone who talks and talks and talks. You're putting in all the life force and energy in the talking that, like, there is no point of even doing the thing, because you're just getting high from telling people about doing the thing. And it is such an addictive spiral to be in, and it can be so dangerous. So if you see yourself doing that, refrain and pull yourself back a little bit more. If you see other people doing that, there's no need to judge or to run with your arms flailing in the air, but just quietly distance yourself as much as you can during this recovery process, because those people are not in congruence with the work that is necessary in this season. Remember that the great creator loves creativity. This is a really simple and fun one, but God loves creativity because God is a creator, and it's so simple and so basic that it is infuriating sometimes to articulate this message, but it brings me joy and like levity in my heart, because sometimes like creativity and the work that we want to put into the world, we put so much importance, so much like intensity behind it. And it's just like we forget that we do it for the love of it. We forget that God is not someone we're trying to please or this source or being that we're trying to impress, but God lives within us. And if God is within us, then we are inherently that creator who wants to create with love and create because we love. Remember that it is my job to do the work, not judge the work. This is so simple and yet so challenging. It is my job to do the work, not judge the work. This is very much tied to the first thing about showing up on the page, but it comes back to like the bullying piece for me. For me, how this manifests is just being like, wow, like, okay, that wasn't the best thing I've ever created. Like last week, or the last time I uploaded a podcast episode, I was not flowing, and it took me hours of editing to even just get it to a place where I felt like it was decent to put out into the world. But there was just so much unnecessary judgment that I layered on top of it, instead of just being like, this is where I'm at right now, this is what's coming through, and being as neutral and having equanimity in our work and in our art is so critical. Even in this video, I've moved around different locations, and then there's been noise and cars and waterfalls and fountains going off and people walking by and giving me stares and all these things. But I'm constantly practicing bringing my mind to this equanimity point, and to remind myself that I'm just here to do my work. And whether I judge myself or what other people are judging me for is not my business whatsoever. And it is so important just to focus on the task at hand and not putting more layers of importance or judgment over that. So the last one is kind of actually a sign, but this it says place this sign in my workplace. Great creator, I will take care of the quantity, you take care of the quality. This has been a really beautiful, I think this is I think this is a perfect place to end, which is I will show up and get the count in. For example, in my journey, I am trying to upload one podcast episode a week, and I'm showing up for that once a week on Wednesday, and on Fridays, I am showing up for my newsletter. And so I am just trying to keep that chain going as much as I can. And the great creator, God and source and the universe, is going to take care of the quality because, like I said earlier, God is not out there, it's within you, inside of you. And that spirit is what you're channeling when you create. And I forget that a lot. And like in meditation, our goal and our mission is to remember what we're doing, remembering to come back to the object and why we're there, and remember our intention, and remember to dedicate, and that we're doing this so that we're not the ones suffering, and to remember that we're doing this, we meditate not for ourselves but for all beings. And our whole life is just this cyclical act of remembering. And it's just so beautiful because it takes all the pressure off. Like, I'm going to come for the quantity. I'm going to come make sure I don't break that chain. And God and source will move through me and will take care of the quality of the work. And will always keep that high standard up in my work. And so this is why, like, I believe like your spiritual practice is your creative practice, and why having a spiritual practice is so important is because it will keep that line and that telephone line with God so crystal clear inside of you, so you will have a less hard time remembering why you're there and why you're doing this work, and that you won't get caught up in the outcomes or the results, but you'll just keep focusing on the quantity and let source and the universe focus on the quality of the work. A divine message I've been receiving recently in my heart and in my meditations is that my dreams and my art is not made by me. It is not made by me. I am just the hands and the mouthpiece and the body that is expressing this concept, but the concept is a divine thing. The idea that we have, whatever that, however small or big that idea or that dream is, comes from divine source. And so all we have to do is show up and allow that divine source to move through us with ease, as much ease as possible, and give it as much space and patience and love and neutrality as it needs to be fully expressed. That to me is the true creative act and the power of creativity. All of our dreams are divine. All of our dreams and our ideas do not come from us, but they come from something greater and higher. And when we really bite down on that, and when we really feel that imprint in our soul and our spirit, we move different, we create different, and we find so much more easefulness in the journey. I'll see you guys next week. Much love.